Thank you, Chair. Barbados congratulates the International Labour Organization for its work in developing an excellent document that provides a framework to consider how the essential theme of a human-centered approach contained in the Centenary Declaration we approved last June can be applied to the current situation, the COVID-19 pandemic. The ILO is to be congratulated for emphasizing and re-emphasizing the need for this approach to development and to work. It is also to be commended for its abiding support for multilateralism and the bringing of the human-centered approach to bear in this area. This organization has also recognized that the COVID-19 pandemic is a human-centered crisis. Indeed, it is reasonable to believe that the crises of the future, whether military conflicts and their consequences, impacts of climate change, including natural disasters and water scarcity, or other pandemics, will be human-centered crises and will require a human-centered response. If the mission to achieve social justice is to mean anything, then the ILO must maintain and lead in promoting this human-centered approach. It must also be in the vanguard for equity and must therefore ensure that the voices of the most vulnerable are heard and that their peculiar situations are taken into account. The vulnerable include specific population demographics, as well as small island developing states and less developed countries and regions. We urge you not to look only at economic measures like gross domestic product, but to make realistic assessments of vulnerability to external shocks, such as that occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. Chair, connecting social justice and social protection and recognizing that along with employment, it is imperative for them to be located at the center of national growth and development strategies is commendable. In similar vein, we submit to this House that social protection in this context must not only refer to the formal social security mechanisms, but must also include the work of the third sector, civil society. As such, this sector must be formally included in the social dialogue as we discuss issues of national growth and development. Barbados recorded its first case of the novel coronavirus on March 17. To date, we have recorded 239 cases of the disease. Unfortunately, 7 persons have died. 224 persons have recovered. As with most countries, Barbados was forced to bring domestic economic activity almost to a halt as we worked to ensure that our healthcare system never got to the point where there was any threat to its ability to cope. Interestingly, as a tourism-dependent economy in the world's most tourism-dependent region, Barbados never closed its borders. The spread of the virus in many of our source markets, the need to test persons arriving to our country, and our quarantine requirements meant that by the end of March, international flights and cruise ship calls to the country had all but ceased. Barbados was forced to respond. Before we went into lockdown, we called the social partners together, including members of civil society, and we discussed what the country's approach should be. We obtained buy-in from them and set up a tripartite committee that would manage our pandemic response. During the period of shutdown, we met regularly with our partners and made or changed decisions based on those discussions. It was the social partners who developed the phrase that we used as a guide to our response. And that phrase was, safe people doing safe work in a safe country. The lockdown saw over 32,000 persons applying to the National Insurance Scheme for unemployment benefits. This is out of our worker force of almost 130,000. we had a challenge on our hands, but we were able to satisfy the claims. Some of the measures implemented included financial support or direct transfers for households impacted by the shutdown, the bringing of additional lands into agricultural production, expediting the payment of tax refunds to provide cash flow for individuals and businesses, the establishment of funds to provide wage support to small and larger businesses for the purpose of worker retention, implementing rapid turnaround procedures for processing claims for unemployment benefits, requesting commercial banks to provide moratoria for individuals and businesses, and providing travel exemptions for third sector organizations involved in addressing the needs of the vulnerable. We have enacted legislation to prevent discrimination in the workplace on a wide range of grounds, and have started sensitization on the issue of violence and harassment in the world of work, including gender-based violence and harassment. We are currently developing more detailed guidance to support our already well-established safety and health at work legislation. Our Labour Inspectorate are also full partners in our national COVID-19 monitoring unit. Barbados supports the statement of GRULAC, and Barbados therefore supports the 4 elements of the social and economic response advocated by the ILO, namely stimulating the economy and employment, and we thank the ILO for its assistance to us in this regard, supporting enterprises, jobs, and incomes, protecting workers in the workplace, and relying on social dialogue for solutions. We look forward to seeing the evidence of the continued leadership of the ILO as we build back better and faster. I thank you.